Hi, I'm Heather from Carseat. Have you ever tried to install a car seat in the center seating position of your Tesla Model 3? If you have, I bet you've noticed that it's hard. There are a variety of reasons for why it's difficult, and in this video I'm going to show you some tips and tricks that I have for getting a car seat tight, installed correctly, and give you some ideas of how to go about shopping for your next car seat and what you should be looking for to make installing the car seat in the center seating position much easier for you as you go through your child's childhood, because they're going to be in a car seat for a long time, and if you're installing car seats in this center seating position, you want to make it easier on yourself because this takes a lot of work to get the car seat installed properly. So let's get started and bring your car seat. So, what makes the center seating position so difficult in the Tesla Model 3? There are a few reasons why it's hard to install a car seat properly in the center seating position. Well, first, you can't use latch. And I know that that's everybody's go-to for installing a car seat. You've been told from birthing instructors, maybe a child passenger safety technician, oh, you've got to use latch. Latch is the way to go. Latch is safest. I don't know what you've heard. But what I want to tell you is that you can't use latch. If you check out the owner's manual of your Model 3, it's on your screen. You can even Google it and look it up that way. You're going to see that you can't use latch in the center seating position. It's only for the outboard positions, so the outside positions. So you have to use the seatbelt. So first off, if you haven't used a seatbelt before for installing car seats, that's going to throw you off right away. Second, this leather is super slippery. I don't know who designed the leather, but, well, cows designed the leather, obviously, but whoever chose the leather for the Tesla vehicles, especially the Model Y and the Model 3, it's very slippery leather. So your car seats are going to slide around a lot. The solution for that is not to get a seat cover. If you get a seat cover, what you're doing is you're putting slippery on top of slippery. And so what that means is that there's just more sliding. So some car seat manufacturers do allow seat covers to be used in conjunction with their car seats. So you have to read your car seat owner's manual. I'm not a big fan of car seat covers just because I think they tend to hide, some of them tend to hide bad installations. So just be careful with those. I prefer car seat to vehicle seat installations. I just don't like having anything in between them. I know some kids are super messy when they eat and drink, and in today's modern lifestyle, it's not possible to not feed your kids when you're in the car. I know the realities of that. But the other reality is that you can take your car seat out every so often and just clean underneath it. The seat wipes super clean just with a wet microfiber cloth. So that's what I did with, this is my husband's car, and it was filthy. So all I did was I got a wet microfiber cloth, wiped down the seat, and as you can see, it's beautiful. So they clean up fantastically. But let's get back to our topic. How to install car seats in this awful seating position. So we've covered that it's slippery leather. It's a narrow seating position. So it's probably about 9 or 10 inches. And your typical car seat is going to be much wider than 9 or 10 inches. So we've got to fit that car seat into that skinny seating position. Plus, this buckle stock right here, which is for the center, you'll notice it's a long, floppy buckle stock. And that tends to bring this buckle up into the belt path, which can cause issues with the installation, because bringing this up into the belt path means that if you're installing with, say, an infant seat base, the infant carrier can sit on top of this buckle and latch plate, meaning that the carrier won't connect properly, or just bringing this up into the belt path can also mean that you're not going to get quite as solid of an installation. There are tricks we can work with that. It also means the way that this is situated, the car seat tends to slide over to the driver's side. And I'll show you what I mean when we actually start installing a car seat. So the car seat slides over to the driver's side as you're installing, covering up the driver's side buckle, which is problematic if you ever have anybody sitting over on the driver's side. So there are just a whole host of problems with the center seating position, but we can overcome them. So let's get started. Let's actually take a look at how to install a car seat with some tips and tricks and go from there. Yeah. When we install a car seat properly, it moves less than 1 inch when we tug on it at the belt path. So let's install this base and see if we can get it to move less than 1 inch at the belt path. So we're using the seat belt because we can't use latch at the center. The Model 3 instruction manual tells us that we can't use latch. To lock the seat belt, I'm going to pull it out all the way slowly until it reaches the end, then let it go back. Listen for the clicks, and that's how we know it's locked. And then we'll press down on the base. There's a nice cutout for our hands. Get some weight into it. Let it go back. Okay. And then we'll test it. So it feels tight. But here's what happens with the Model 3. You test it, pull front and back, and then you notice that it starts to move more than 1 inch. And part of that is just because the slippery leather, and also because it's narrow, the seating position is narrow, and it's a little bit off center. It wants to push this car seat over here towards the driver's side. So it starts moving with very little effort on my part. And all of a sudden now we've got way more than 1 inch of movement. So I think you'll find that if you install your car seat with a normal amount of effort that would put this car seat in very well in other vehicles, or even in an outboard position here, if I were to move this over to the outboard position, it would install perfectly. In the center seating position, it's awful. So how do we go about installing it here in the center and have it install perfectly with less than 1 inch of movement? And my preference is to have it be a whole lot less than 1 inch of movement. Well, what are some tricks we can use? First off, notice that this seatbelt, the buckle is coming way up into the belt path. Well, that's one thing that I'm a little concerned about, because you'll notice how much slack there is now in the belt as I pull it a little bit. This latch plate comes way up into the belt path. If I were to put the carrier onto the base, I'd be a little concerned that maybe the carrier wouldn't sit properly here. It would contact it and not allow the carrier to lock in up here. So I might want to twist this down a little bit. And by twisting this, we're allowed to give that buckle stock up to 3 full twists. So 3 full twists, and that might make a difference in our installation. So let's go ahead and unbuckle. Give this 3 twists. So there's 1. And because there's a cable holding it here, so you have to work on it. I think 2 is about all I'm going to be able to do, because that was really hard. Let's see if it stays. There we go. And you'll notice that I only pull out enough seatbelt just to get it through the car seat. I don't like to pull out all the seatbelt at once. This way I'm not being swarmed in seatbelts. That's that's kind of what I call a rookie mistake. When I see people pull out all of the seatbelt at once. You know, and I know some techs like to pull the seatbelt out all the way too, but I find that to be more of a rookie mistake, like I said, just because if you pull the seatbelt out all the way, you tend to be like, oh my gosh, I've got so much seatbelt out and I don't know what to do with it, and it gets twisted. And just pull out enough to get it through the belt path, and then when you're ready to lock the seatbelt, then lock it. Okay, so I've locked the seatbelt. Now let's give this a try. Okay, so look how much shorter it is now. It's out of the belt path. Okay, let's try that. Nope, still need some more work. Okay, we still have some slack here, so I'm gonna press a little bit more. Test it a little bit more. It's a little bit tighter. I got a little bit more slack out. But here's one trick that I'm gonna try, and this one I bet is the one that's really gonna put it in and really work. And no, it's not the knee in the seat, because if you try putting your knee in the seat, guaranteed you're gonna end up with a black and blue knee. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my knee in front of the seat. So I'm just gonna put it right here, and notice how this is kind of sliding up. That's okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down, and that's going to kind of hold it in place. Push here, and now with my knee, look how much slack I'm getting. And this is just with a little pressure from my knee. Okay, so I just take all that slack out. Goes back in. Try it again. And I'm talking through this, so there's not a whole lot of effort going into it. Now let's give it a try. Okay. Like that's not moving now, so I mean, that's really not moving. So I put a whole lot of effort into trying to get this to move. So that knee in the front of the seat, what that does is that pushes this space back, and while I'm pushing it down here with the seat belt. So that's a really nice trick to know. So let's try a different car seat. It's not just rear-facing only seats that have issues installing in the center of the Model 3. This is a 3-in-1 seat from Graco. It's the Tri-Ride 3-in-1. It rear faces, forward faces, and becomes a booster seat. So all-in-ones, 3-in-1s, 4-in-1s, and convertible seats also will have issues, as well as combination seats. Combination seats are harness to booster seats, so those are more big kid seats. And they also have issues installing here, just like rear-facing only seats, because of all of the reasons listed earlier. So let me show you my trick for installing this seat. I've already run the seat belt through the belt path. Let me just buckle it in. All right, and I'll lock the seat belts. Pull it all the way out till the retractor locks. And I'll put a reasonable amount of force, just like I would in any other vehicle or if I were installing it in an outboard position. Okay. And getting it where I feel like it would be nice and snug. Okay, and let's check it. All right, it's still moving quite a bit, so let me put a little more effort into it. And it's still moving too much. We want the car seats to move less than 1 inch. Car seats can move 1 inch or less, but really we want them to move less than 1 inch. You can do better than 1 inch of movement. So how can we fix this? Because really we can install car seats so they move not at all in this center seating position. Really, we can. And I can do that with this seat, with the trick I'm going to show you. It's a modification of the infant seat trick, the rear facing only seat trick that I showed you, using your knee to push, but we're not going to use our knee to push down here at the base. We're going to use our bodies to push up here at the top. Now this isn't a trick that, say, a pregnant woman could use, or if you physically can't fit back here, or if you've just had surgery, or something like that. You have to use modifications. Be smart about this. So if you have to modify, you're going to have to find either a partner to help you or find some kind of modification where you're putting your body weight down here across the seat, using your arms to kind of wiggle the seat as you go. But what we're looking to do is push down and back, because we need to somehow get the squish out of the cushions in the seat and push it back so that we get the squish out of the back of the cushion as well. So here we go. Move those front seats up. And I pulled the cover back so you can see here. I'm going to grab onto the shoulder belt, which it should be the belt on top. And I'm going to put my weight. And I'm not going to put a whole lot of effort into this because I'm just using my body weight. And can you see how much I've already gotten, how much slack I've already gotten out of this? It's like a ton. You can see, look how much that has gotten, how much slack. So I'm just going to feed it up here. Do that again, maybe wiggle a little bit side to side. Put that up there. I've been using this technique since my son was 6 months old, was about 4 months old when I got him his convertible seat. He's 21, so this technique's been around a long time. People have been using this technique, so. And now, look how tight it is. And like I'm really trying to move the seat. I've got both hands on it. You're really only supposed to tug at the belt path with your non-dominant hand. So I write with my right hand. I'm supposed to be using my left hand. Like, there's no way. I'm at an odd position here in the car, so I can't really check with my left hand. But like I'm using my right hand, and even with my right hand, like seriously, it's not moving. So it's an awesome technique to have in your bag of car seat tricks when you're installing a car seat. One of the things that you can do before you even get to the installation portion of installing the car seat is buy the proper car seat that's going to fit into the center seating position. Now, if you already have your car seat, well, you can either take it back, if you can still take it back, or you can just use the car seat that you have and just do a little bit extra work. It's no big deal, right? I mean, you have some techniques now that can help you install your car seat. If you don't have a car seat yet, well, let's look at the car seats that you can buy before you go about installing them, because there are some things built into car seats now that will help you greatly with the installation process. One of those things is a lock-off, and I have a video on lock-offs and belt tensioners, which I'm going to talk about in a second here, that will help you greatly install car seats in this center seating position of the Model 3. And this is an example of a lock-off. What a lock-off does is, remember in our installations we were manually locking the seatbelt by pulling the seatbelt all the way out and then letting it go back in, and you would hear that clicking sound. That clicking sound means that we'd switch the retractor over. And I have a video on that too, because I love teaching people about seatbelts. And so that video is great for learning all about seatbelts. So go watch that video too, because I think it's a lot of fun knowing all about your car. But anyways, back to lock-offs. What the lock-off does is you run the seatbelt through and then you close the lock-off on top of it, and your seatbelt's locked. Isn't that cool? You don't have to know how to lock your seatbelt. And what this lock-off does is it couples the car seat to the vehicle a little bit more tightly. Lock-offs tend to help car seat technicians and just normal, average, everyday parents and caregivers get tighter installations. So they are a good thing to have on car seats. Not to mention that you just don't have to know how to lock your seatbelt, but we covered that already. So let me show you with this lock off what I mean by that. So we're just going to put the car seat here, run the seatbelt through the belt path. This is the UPPAbaby Mesa, by the way, in case you're wondering. Lots and lots of rear-facing only infancy bases now come with lock-offs. Okay, and so we're going to push down until we get a good, nice, tight installation. The UPPAbaby has a tension monitor up here on top, a tension indicator. It turns green, but with the UPPAbaby, I tend to find that you have to go a little bit with a little bit more tension than the green shows. So like once it shows green, go a little bit further with it. So I'm going to put that seatbelt right through there, push down, close that lock off, and it's closed. And that's it. Easy, wasn't that? So now let's check for tightness, and it's tight. That movement that you see is actually the car seat moving right here on its foot. So that foot is moving. The car seat isn't moving itself, it's just the base rocking on that foot, and that's okay movement. So it's tight. That's a good installation. And it's certainly, that movement is certainly less than an inch anyways, if it were moving. So it's just kind of rocking there on its base. So another thing I'd like to point out just really quickly with an infant seat base, you see how much movement is right up here? That always scares parents. That's normal movement, because the further away you go from the belt path, the more movement you're going to get. There's nothing holding it down here. That's normal. Even a rear-facing convertible seat or an all-in-one seat is going to have a lot of movement up at the head area. Totally normal. So don't let that worry you. As long as it's nice and tight right here at the belt path, that's what you're looking for. So that's a lock-off. Some car seats have belt tensioning technology built into them, Belt tensioning differs from lock-off technology, which we just saw, in that the belt tensioning actually provides all of the work for us instead of us having to put all of our, weight into the seat or pull the seatbelt tight. The belt tensioning mechanism in the car seat does that work for us. It's fantastic. We want that technology. If it has a lock-off with it, that's fantastic too, because then we don't have to worry about locking the seatbelt. It's okay if it doesn't have a lock-off. We know how to lock the seatbelt, right? We just pull it out all the way, let it retract, hear the clicking sound. We know how to do that. It's the belt tensioning that's the key here. So this particular car seat has both a lock-off and belt tensioning in it. So let me show you what this car seat is. It's the Graco Forever DLX Snug Lock. Any of the Graco line that has the Snug Lock technology, that's belt tensioning and a lock-off. So it looks like this. And the Snug Lock arm comes up like this. Belt tensioning works by forcing the seatbelt into a channel. And so it's going to basically take inches out of the belt path with the seatbelt. And so it forces it in there, puts it in there, and this is actually a lot of tension on the seatbelt. So it's great. It does all the work for us. Let's take a look at it. Okay, when you're dealing with a lock-off, make sure that you don't lock your seatbelt, because again, the lock-off is locking your seatbelt for you. So you want to make sure you don't pull it out all the way. Okay, so I want to make sure that I've got the car seat centered where I want it, because once it's in place, it's in place. It's not moving. Now again, since we're dealing with the Model 3, I need to put just a little bit more pressure on it than I normally would. More than I would than if I were putting it outboard, just because it's the center seating position. Now I just hold that tight, close that Snug Lock arm, and I mean, that's tight. I'm working hard here trying to get it to move any. So that's super tight. That's what we're looking for really this center seating position, is belt tensioning technology. So when you're looking for a new car seat, look for something that has belt tensioning on it. Almost all the manufacturers now have their instruction manuals online, and it's certainly in their marketing materials. So look for something that has belt tensioning, holds the seatbelt tight, something like that, as you look through the materials when you're looking for a new car seat. When the seatbelt is this tight, don't try and just open that lock off, because there's so much tension on the belt. Open the buckle first. Do you see that pop up? Yeah. You don't want to be opening that lock off, because it'll probably hurt your fingertips or break a fingernail or something. Then you can open the lock off or belt tensioning door. Then you can unbuckle it. So that's a belt tensioner for you. And lots of car seats have them now, not just the Graco line. Britax has had them for a long time. Nuna has them. Even Flow. So we've got lots of car seats out there that have belt tensioners. And it's not just on convertibles and all-in-ones. Rear-facing only infant seats have them too, as well as combination seats. Those are the harness to booster seats for big kids. So they're out there, and they're really cool. If you found my video helpful on installing car seats in the center of the Tesla Model 3, please share my video with other owners of the Model 3. Thanks, I appreciate it.